Over this past weekend, we've seen the Packers' run defense fall apart once again. Just like last year against the Niners, this defense was carved up for over 200 yards rushing, 4 different touchdowns from Dalvin Cook, and as an embarrassment at Lambeau Field. So people are calling for the firing of defensive coordinator Mike Pettin, but today let's get into the film breakdown and see, is it really Mike Pettin's scheme, or is it something else on the defense? So let me get into the film breakdown. On Sunday, the Vikings stayed in a very heavy package here, running out of 22 personnel with 2 tight ends and 2 backs and 1 wide receiver split out for majority of the day. Mike Pettin dialed up his typical 5-2 defense, the exact same thing he ran against San Francisco last year. We see out of this 5-2 defense, we have 2 guys circled in green here, Preston Smith and Zadarious Smith, who are the force defenders. They're going to try to force the back and force everything to be contained inside, which is going to go back to the help where the inside backers are at and the D-line is at. We see the 2 guys circled in yellow playing possibly the most key lanes here, because with the 5-2 front, you're going to try to stuff all the running lanes up front, which is either going to force a cutback into your defensive line help, or better yet, there'll be a force a cutback right into an easy tackle for our DBs. So the 5-2 defense is not the issue. The scheme was not the issue. It's how we executed the scheme. So let me get into the more nitty-gritty side of this and show you guys where the Packers went wrong and why they were gashed for so many yards. Taking a look at this first play, we're going to be looking at the Vikings outside zone concept, their bread and butter on Sunday, which carved the Packers for so many yards. So to start, we're going to look on the right side of the screen here, where we're going to see that the tight end will be on a solo block with Preston Smith. Basically, his job is to widen Preston Smith out, widen that C gap open so CJ Ham can lead up into the second level here and block that safety or corner, whoever stepped up into the box. We see the tackle here is going to try to reach the down lineman, seal him back inside to help that C gap slowly widen, which should start being a gaping hole for Dalvin Cook. Then we're going to see the center guard run a combo block here. We're going to see the center is going to reach the nose tackle, and then the guard is going to climb up to the front side backer, seal him inside, keeping that C gap open. Then we're going to see on the backside here, the guard tackle also have a combo block. The tackle has a very difficult block here to cut off the backside 3 tech, as we need the backside guard to also climb and cut off the backside backer. Finally, looking at the tight end on the left side of the screen, he's going to have a one-on-one block with Zadarious Smith, basically trying to widen him out to hopefully open a cutback lane. It's a different way you can run the split zone concept here. So we see the ball get snapped here, and we see everybody heads to their blocking assignments. We're going to freeze the frame here. We're going to look at the front side only. Circled in red, we see it with the front side is just a load of garbage. It is so clogged up, so murky, there's no lane for Dalvin Cook. This is where we dig deeper, where we see Dean Lowry here circled in light green. He fought off the reach block from the tackle, plugging up that C gap, not allowing CJ Ham to come free, which we see Josh Jackson here circled in yellow is a free defender right there in the C gap lane. There's no lane for Dalvin Cook. It looks beautiful on the front side. So we see the front side did its job. It's forcing Dalvin Cook to cut back into our free defender here on the back side. But the issue is, look at this gap that Dalvin Cook has. There's so much ground that DB needs to make to be able to tackle Dalvin Cook in the cutback lane. This all starts with Kenny Clark, circled in white here. At the snap of the ball, he was on the opposite side of the hash. He's been moved 5 to 6 yards off of his point from where he started at. This is huge. This is spreading the C gap to just extreme proportions. And we see Zadarious Smith here circled in purple. He has to make up for this ground and fight that tight end to close that C gap down to help out this free DB here to make a nice tackle. But with the C gap that large, as we see, the DB has no choice but to just shoot hard, but Dalvin Cook carries him for 7 yards. There's nothing the DB could have done. So we see the 5-2 front can force the cutback. The scheme isn't bad. The scheme isn't the issue. It can work, but the front side has to be paired well with the backside, and when they don't play in unison, that's what allows the 6-7 yard gains. So now we're going to shift back the spotlight, and this time we're going to focus on what happens when the front side of the play goes wrong. Taking a look at this next play, it's the exact same play. It's the exact same outside zone concept. Everything's exactly the same. Tight ends one-on-one. Front side tackles are going to try to reach the down lineman. Center guard combo to the front side backer. Backside guard and backside tackle combo that down lineman up to the backer. And then the tight ends one-on-one with the backside defender. Once again, at the snap of the ball, we're going to freeze the frame here, and we're going to take a look at Zadarious Smith here, circled in yellow. He throws the tight end out of the way, starts to close down that C gap, takes away the cutback lane. Perfect technique. But now we're going to look at circled in green here, and this is where it gets bad. We see that Kenny Clark easily gets reached by the backside tackle, allowing the backside guard to climb freely to the backside backer. With both these backside defenders blocked and starting to get walled off, and the center here getting movement on the nose tackle, This is starting to widen. It's starting to part the C's here in this A gap. This widening forces, we see the front side back here circled in red. He's going to have to step up and fill this lane now. Instead of filling his front side B gap, he's going to have to come back to the A gap to plug this hole to make sure Dalvin Cook doesn't come scot-free through it. This is going to put pressure on the front side now, because instead of being +1 on the front side with Josh Jackson stepping up, they're going to be 4 for 4. And we're going to see why this ends poorly. So in this next frame here, we're going to be highlighting Chris Barnes circled in red. He shot that backside A-gap to plug it here, try to make a tackle in the backfield, couldn't. Dalvin Cook's a special back. Obviously, it's going to be hard to make that play. But with Chris Barnes leaving the front side, it's going to put a lot of pressure on these defenders' front side now. We see the Vikings have 3 blockers for 3 defenders. This is an ideal situation for any offensive coordinator. They want to be equal in the run game, or they want to be +1 blocker-wise in the run game. But in this scenario, we see that they're equal. It's ideal. That means basically a defender needs to beat their block to be able to make a play on the ball carrier. So let's start with Dean Lowry, circled in green here. He fought off his reach block last play, not so much this play. He gets reach, gets sealed inside, and allows the C gap to start to crease. Add on top of that, Preston Smith's getting washed out by the tight end here, and this is equivalent to the C gap spreading to be 4 to 5 yards wide. Now we see that 2 defenders have been beat so far. This leaves Josh Jackson one-on-one with a fullback. A DB versus a fullback in a hole usually won't end well, and as we see, it doesn't end that well. Vikings get a 10-yard gain, and as we see, as the backside cripples, so does the front side. They have to be married together to have success. So, as we kind of wrap up this film breakdown here, and we recap everything here. So, after seeing those 2 plays, we understand that the Packers' scheme was not the issue. Mike Penn called a good defensive front here with a 5-2 scheme, and it should have plugged this outside zone. The issues from Sunday's game was, I would say, 2 different things. The down linemen, Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry, Tyler Lancaster, they weren't physical enough at the point of contact. They were physical on some plays, but not all the plays. They didn't dominate the line of scrimmage, and that's what you really need to do to set a tone in a game. You usually saw Kenny Clark got pushed around, Dean Lowry got reach. Really need to see this D-line to take the next step of being a little bit more physically strong at the point of attack. And then possibly the biggest sore thumb on the defense this year is Preston Smith and Zadarious Smith. These 2 edge defenders were incredible last year. They shocked the league. They put up big numbers. They look good. This year, though, the sack numbers are down. Their pressure numbers are down. Their effectiveness in the run game is down. They're just having a down year, and it's killing the Packers on the defense right now. These guys were really the flash they needed last year to really take a step to being a good defense. But this year, they're not there, and it's killing this Packers defense. If the Packers want any shot at bringing home another Lombardi trophy in the Rodgers era, we need to see this defensive front be more physically tough at the point of contact. I want to see this Packers defense start bullying teams around. When you got 5 down linemen, you should be resetting the line of scrimmage. But sadly, the Packers did not on Sunday. And it'll be interesting to see how this defense responds on Thursday night's game against the 49ers, another very run-heavy team and a very physical team at the point of contact. But like I said, that's going to wrap up the film breakdown, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.